It's actually been quite a few months since the beginning of February when I had a chance to offer a message to all of God's children here. And while Chris Hughes gets a well-deserved time off, I get a chance to share a message to the child that is within all of us and all of those young people who may be joining us today. So before I became a minister, I thought my job was going to be working with wildlife, to be helping animals, to be working in national parks, to be studying things and caring for them in the rivers and the lakes, in the woods or in the ocean. But then God talked to me and thought I would be better at doing something else, namely being a pastor. And so while I have been being a pastor for some 20 plus years now, I still love the outdoors and nature and wildlife and remember all of those things. And that's one of the things that reminds me of the beauty of God when we can look at all of the creation and the animals, all of the wonders. So where Lynn and I and Nick live out in Hopedale, there's a beautiful pond. And there's a beautiful walking trail around it. And off in the distance from one point in the trail, you can see a beaver dam. Maybe you've seen one of those before too. Those big piles of sticks. And if you're lucky enough, you might actually see the beavers working or the evidence of them working. I've seen trees around the pond near the dam which are chewed away, nibbled away, and you see the teeth marks from the beaver's big front teeth. And they're chewed and chewed and chewed, and they almost look like they're ground down like a pencil point. And some of the trees are still standing, and it looks like the slightest wind will take it over. And I know that the beavers will probably come back at some point and finish it off. So the tree will fall, and they will go and make their beaver nest and the dam. Now, one of the great things about beavers, and the most wonderful things to think about, is how they make their homes and how they make their lives and do their work. They actually help out a lot of animals other than themselves. Because when they build their dams, it raises the water level. And it creates wetlands, places where other things can thrive and live and grow and have young animals, and plants can grow, things that might not have been there before. Things like moose, all sorts of birds, things like snakes and other kind of turtles. The beaver, in making its home and making its space and in doing its work, really ends up helping a lot of other animals. It creates and invites a whole lot of different creatures to come and live and share in the same space. Now, sometimes people aren't happy with what beavers do because the water gets too high around their houses if they live on a lake or on their land. But beavers have a job to do in taking care of themselves, but also they end up helping others. And so it keeps me thinking about how we all have our different jobs to do in life. We all have different things we're asked to do, and God asks us to do things, not just to take care of ourselves, but also to take care and help others. Just like a beaver might, in doing the stuff that helps take care of them and their family, they also do things that helps to grow other animals and other animal families. And that's what I think we're called to do. What God asks us to do is to find out our jobs, but always remember that whatever we do, whatever we imagine ourselves doing, whether we're going to be a wildlife ranger or a minister or a firefighter or an astronaut or a teacher or a doctor, that in all of those things, we always have this job as disciples, as followers of Jesus, to love one another and to help one another, to take care of one another. And so I'm going to end with a prayer that comes from a very fun book that I have called How the Wild Things Pray. And this is a prayer as if offered by a beaver. Good God, in stress I turn to Thee. I have my work cut out for me to save the earth. No more, no less than that. The shorebirds and the waterfowl, the mink, the moose, the ducks, the owl, the humans, all fear for their habitat. They're draining wetlands left and right. 3/4 of them are gone from sight. And we're the only force against that sin. The critter world, meanwhile, is fearing. Swamps and bogs are disappearing, and the threat of drought is genuine. Good God, strengthen my teeth today, that I may gnaw despair away, creating beaver dams for fens and bogs, so kits and kids of every kind tomorrow will good lodgings find, saved by a wall of vigilance and logs. In whatever we do, whatever our jobs are, may God give us the strength to do it to the very best and always to help others.